Hi all. This game today I would like to look at is a game of a friend of mine, Jessicafischerqueen, on YouTube. She played it on Yahoo. It was a 10-minute game. So she played e4 and her opponent played e5. And now after knight f3, knight c6, instead of playing the more common Roy Lopez, she played the Scotch game, which actually has been revived recently by Kasparov and Timman as a surprise weapon to avoid the well-trodden Roy Lopez. And it has survived the test of time. It's been used for over 100 years with good success. It actually got its name for a correspondence match in 1824 between Edinburgh and London, by the way. Anyway, so the opponent played e takes d4, and after knight takes d4, black played bishop c5. I think the main line is knight takes c6 here, and then queen f6, and then queen d2. So let's have a quick look at that. Knight takes c6, queen f6, queen d2. However, there's also other mainline moves, and knight b3 is called the Potter variation. Nothing to do with Harry Potter, but there you are, the Potter variation. Black unsoundly sacrificed a piece, but it was a 10-minute game. And in blitz games, it is important to try and get the initiative and the opponent on the defensive. So there is some justification in blitz to play sometimes unsound moves just to put the opponent under pressure. So Jessica tucks her king away on g1, and white is clearly better, and now she gains good tempos on the black queen, munching that pawn. So first knight c3. So now after queen g6, another tempos gained on the black queen, and black played f5 here. And here, yet another aggressive, good attacking move, knight d5, eyeing the c7 pawn, threatening to fork the king and rook. So black played king d8, forfeiting the ability to castle. Now after bishop f4, the c7 square was probed, forcing yet another concession from black, d6. And now after queen f3, Jessica's got a great position with all these pieces in quite good squares. Black now played knight f6. Black, by the way, was higher rated than Jessica, around over 2,000 rated. So this was a good scalp by Jessica in this game. So after queen takes f6, she played c3. Now here perhaps, to avoid black getting too much counterplay, which is important in blitz, maybe sacking that pawn would have been an improvement with say h4 here, because it also threatens to skewer the black queen. If we look at this game with Rybka, a lot of Rybka's suggestions, although technically good, would be very hard to play in 10 minutes. Not very easy for any human to sort of sometimes make use of easily. So sometimes, you know, objectively not the entirely best moves might be more practical to actually play. So here I think h4 is a good alternative to what was played, which was c3, because this gave the black an opportunity to this aggressive move g5, gaining a tempo on the bishop. And after bishop d2, knight e5, we have here black gaining a little bit of play. Black's already got 2 pawns for the piece. But anyway, white energetically counterattacked on this g5, threatening this skewer now with bishop takes g5, so cunningly leaving this piece on d3 and pre. So black defended that. Now Jessica played bishop e2. Perhaps here bishop c2 might have been another interesting idea, just to keep the pressure on the f5 square, so that rook f1 and start probing that. But anyway, bishop e2 was played, and now black played bishop e6, and now knight d4. So this knight is starting to reroute to attack this sensitive pawn. After bishop f7, queen h3, Jessica still keeps the pressure, and now it's coordinated between knight and queen. And after g4, the dark squares are weakened a little bit, especially this f4 square here. So this is not so bad. White's gaining a lot more control of the position now, as black's pawn structure is becoming more fixed. After rook f1, it's a clear target of attack, this f5. So black defended with bishop g6. And now Jessica played bishop f4, another good move. And after rook a8, perhaps here something should be done about this h1 rook, which is kind of inactive at the moment. So maybe h3 would have been a great idea here. Say h5 and then exchange off a pair of rooks. The problem is it might leave the king a little bit vulnerable potentially on the h file. But with careful play this will be fine. Bishop d1 say and bishop c2. Again targeting this f5, and black should just fall to pieces now. For example, even knight takes f5 would be possible in this kind of position, because we have this nasty skewer here. So this f5 is a vulnerability in the black position, but the problem for white is this h1 rook. So maybe this h3 was a good opportunity here. But anyway, Jessica played bishop takes e5, and the opponent didn't play the best. I think d takes e5 would have been better than rook takes e5, because here Jessica played bishop takes g4 and white is clearly on top again. So it's just one pawn for the piece. So a very exciting game so far. After h5, perhaps instead of bishop takes f5, bishop f3 would have been a good idea here. So bishop takes f5. Unfortunately, it allowed black to get a little bit of counterplay here after these exchanges, and white winning that rook on h8. Black had queen b1 check, and this is treading a fine line now between black starting to almost equalise. If black had taken the rook now on h1, then let's have a quick look. Then the only move for white to gain advantage according to Ribka is actually c4. And this would be a cunning trap. If queen takes h2, there's a very cunning trap. Queen e8 check. After king c5, queen b5 check. King d4, queen d5 mate. But that's very, very high precision stuff. So maybe earlier, trying to exchange off this rook would have been more safer to avoid this kind of stuff. Problems with this rook. But anyway, Jessica took that rook on h8, and the opponent actually perhaps was trying to keep Jessica under pressure and didn't take the rook, but maybe was trying to win on time or something, just kept checking. However, Jessica bravely marched the king up the board, munching that h-pawn, and now here consolidated quite well with queen e8 check followed by queen e1, so protecting that rook. Then after queen takes b2, played queen b1, forcing off the exchange of queens, and the opponent here resigned. So it was a very exciting game and a good scalp against a stronger player, much higher rated player. Let's have a quick brief overview and summary. A Scotch game which has been popularised again recently by the likes of Kasparov and Timman as a surprise weapon. Knight b3 is the Potter variation. Perhaps bishop b6 was more prudent here. Black tried to put white under pressure, but Jessica correctly gained lots and lots of tempos and targeted the f5 pawn later, as we'll see now. So this rook d1, rook f1 was played. That f5 pawn was a target. So Jessica managed to win a pawn through that excellent pin on the queen. Perhaps bishop f3 and then just trying to get the rook out with h4 later would have been better here, because this gave black a little bit of opportunity again. Maybe after queen takes h1 it would have been tricky, but black tried to do something with these checks, but they didn't work out because of this excellent consolidation at the end. So it was an up and down exciting game, 10 minutes each on Yahoo. Well played, Jessica, and if anyone has any comments about this game, please let me know. Thanks very much, and see you on YouTube.